Good morning. Storytelling time. Yeah. Is that like a thing? I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you a story. And that's because like 2 days ago, I was talking to my friend. She's from Chile, by the way. She knows. She's gonna watch this and she knows. I was telling her that I don't know, like 9, 10 years ago, it's been a while. I went to Chile with my brother, and it was like our first trip together, just the two of us, and it was to another country. We're from Brazil, so the whole trip started kind of in a crazy way because our flight was supposed to be around like 9 p.m. And then when we got to the airport, we did the whole process. We were there like 3 hours before. We did the whole process, like the passport, all the documents. Although, just information from Brazil to Chile, it's not necessary to have the passport. You can do with the Brazilian ID. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with my passport so I can get a stamp on it. And I did that. I went to the first phase, let's say that way, on the airline company, and then they checked me in. So I went to the border place. But then when I went to the police, like the officers that will check if I'm authorized to travel abroad, they told my brother passed, he was first. So he got in, so he was inside, and I was talking to the office. And then he was like, hey, you cannot go. And I went, what? How come I cannot go? I did nothing, like I'm not a criminal, so what's going on? And then it was just like a problem with my passport, because my passport had the expiration date less than 6 months, and you cannot travel abroad if your passport has expiration date less than 6 months. You need those six. And I was like, but listen, I did the whole process outside and the company lied me. So now I don't have time. And then he was like, well, do you have your Brazilian ID? And I didn't, because I was like, I have my passport. Why should I carry more documents? All that. Imagine if I have a problem and I forget to some place, I'm gonna lose my documents. So no, I only had my passport. And he was like, yeah, you cannot travel. I was, no way. So I was like, what am I gonna do now? So my brother was coming, and then there's the whole thing. I didn't tell this part actually to my Chilean friend. I just told like the other second half that I'm gonna tell later. But the thing is, they had to hold the airplane to get my suitcases back. It was the whole, my brother was inside the airplane already, and he was listening the pilot saying, we are holding because we have to deal with some passenger, blah blah blah. I even don't remember what exactly they said. But the thing was, they were holding the airplane to get my suitcase back. And I even told like, hey, can I give an authorization? My brother said he can get for me when he gets into, no, you need to get back. I was okay, so let's do that. And then they asked me, how is your suitcase? It's black. Imagine 90% of the suitcases, they were black. So it took them like a long time to find my suitcase, but they did. But the airplane was late, of course. That was my fault. If you were watching this video and you were in that flight 10 years ago, that was my fault. Well, not mine, but it was because of me. So what happened? I had to reschedule my flight for the next day. But then the company was trying to charge me like almost $2,000. By that time, 10 years ago, $2,000, it was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5,000 today, when you talk about the value of the money. So I was like, I'm not gonna pay that. One, that I was totally poor at that time, 10 years ago, like no, I didn't have that money at all. I was like, I'm not gonna pay that. So I did the whole scene in a nice way, but I had to do it. I was like, hey, that's not my fault. I did the whole process on time. If you guys had told me by the first contact that, hey, you cannot board because of your passport, I would have called someone and asked to bring my ID, because from my house to the airport by car it's like 45 minutes. So I would have had time to do all that, and they didn't. They let me in. So is that my fault? Not my fault. So I didn't pay. Oh, and there was a couple, they had similar problem as mine, and they paid, because the next day I met them again and we're talking, and they were like, oh, we paid 2,000. I was like, ooh, that's a lot. But then I didn't want to tell them that I didn't pay, because then I was making them feel bad. So I was just let it go. I did what I had to do. I got my reschedule without paying anything. So good for me. So I went to Chile. That's the first little thing that happened. But then, listen, when you got to Chile, it was Christmas times. That's why this story is so like again in my mind, because it was Christmas time. And then again, 10 years ago, my brother and I, we were like getting on our feet, like working, studying, doing stuff, people from Brazil, they know it's not easy when you don't come like from a rich family to get on your feet, to have like a good job, good salary. It takes time, So we were still at that time working on that. Sorry. Well, but whatever. So we were planning the trip. We were planning like a cheap trip, like, oh, let's try one good hotel. One good like restaurant, and the rest we're gonna go like to regular daily, So we're gonna not spend a lot of money. But like to start with the hotels there, oh my goodness, they are so expensive. Their currency is Chilean pesos, but they charge everything dollar for tourists. So dollar compared to all the money in South America, it's just craziness. Right now, by Chile, $1 it costs 60 reals in Brazil. It's insanity, By the time it was less, but it's still a lot. So we found the hotel, we did all, but then we were like, should we do something for Christmas? And then we decided, you know what? Everything was so expensive. I'm not kidding. Everything was so expensive for Christmas. My brother and I, we were like, you know what? Let's go with the flow. Let's see how we're gonna find out there, what we're gonna do. Let's just live the life. Let it go. Okay, let's do that. I'm a Capricorn. I like to plan everything. My mind works better if I have everything planned. But I was like, also as a Capricorn, money is something important. So I was okay, yeah, let's do that. So we got to Chile, and then we started to look for places for Christmas, and again, either overbooked or really expensive. So we're like, yeah, that's it. On December 24th, because there in South America, usually we have the things like on Christmas Eve, the dinner. We're gonna go out and we're gonna find a place, and we're gonna have whatever we find, whatever it costs. That was the final decision. So we started walking around. First of all, 70% of the restaurants they were closed. So like, there's nothing open. It was like you didn't see one person walk around the city, and my brother and I doing that. Then finally we met like 3 other people. Was one couple and a guy. The 3 of them from Brazil. That was like unbelievable. And then we went together hunting for a place for us to eat. Nothing. So final decision. We went to a Chinese restaurant, and people who know, uh, you know that I don't eat in many of the places. I look at it, if I feel like it's not clean, I'm not eating. That's me. And that place was like, oh my gosh. In normal day, I would never have eaten that. But I did it, you know. You were there. Food poisoning maybe, but I didn't have it, by the way. But you know, you take the risks. So we got like food to go because the place was packed, so we got to go, and then we're going outside, find a place to sit and have our food in the middle of the street. So we found the Plaza de Armas, I think. I told my friend yesterday and just forgot it. But we were sitting there having like our balls of food, eating, like sitting the bench in a plaza, in an open public space, you know. It was like the weather was good, but there was nobody besides us. We were there, but we were having fun, you know, meeting new people. We're still in touch until nowadays, 10 years after. But we could not have any alcohol drink because, like here in New York City, there also you cannot have a drink outside in the streets. That's a thing that in Brazil you can do it, by the way. But yeah, you know, Chile, you could not. So we were there, and I remember the police passing by to check who are those people, what they are doing outside, like having dinner, like Christmas Eve. It's just crazy. But that's a story that my brother and I, we have in common. And we share this, and it's a funny story, and it was a really nice night. And again, we are still in touch with those people that we met that night. After that, we were together in other we went to bar restaurants together. We did an inside trip in Chile to other part of the country. So yeah, that was it, you know. And I was looking at the pictures 10 years ago. We there sitting having our food and so happy. And then that's Christmas, right? It's when you get together with people that you love. In that case, that I loved was my brother, but then I met other people that they were special that night. So they were part of our community that night. And that's it. That's Christmas. So I just want to share this story. I don't know if I can upload that actually because it's like 13 minutes. I probably am going to do that on YouTube maybe. I don't know. So that's it. I just want to share this story. And I have a lot of more stories that I should do a video like that. I just need to learn how to summarize because I talk a lot and it's like 13, almost 14 minutes. So that's it. Bye.